no idea how much background noise the AC is making right now, and honestly, I know I've mentioned how hot it is in every video I have filmed in like the last 2 months, but somehow it is always a heat wave when I need to film. Look, I'm just at a place where mentally I'm not up for it, so we're gonna have some background noise. That's gonna be the case for the next few videos as well, because I'm gonna film them all back to back. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. It is, when you are seeing this, the 15th of August. Hopefully this video gets up in time. And that means that tomorrow, on the 16th, the History Challenge starts. I didn't talk about the History Challenge in my August TBR because I filmed my TBR before it was announced. This is a problem I have, clearly. The History Challenge is a readathon that focuses on non-fiction history writing. It's a genre that you guys know I absolutely adore. It's something that I enjoy reading, it's something that I enjoy talking about, and I am so excited to be participating again. Because I'm also hosting Book Buffet in August, and as a host, I kind of want to make sure I'm reading all the prompts and stuff. I'm mostly, I think, going to read books that are non-fiction history about food, because those are already on my TBR and I can just read them in the second half of the month without completely overwhelming myself. I've been talking about this for like 2 months now as well, but like I've just been feeling a lot of burnout and overwhelmingness, so I didn't want to try and read like 16 books in August. I know that's not going to happen, and that means that I'm not really going to make any super explicit content about the History Challenge, but I couldn't not do anything. This is such a long intro, I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm actually speaking, which is like better than I thought my brain was going to be today, so we're going with it. What I'm going to try and do, and I don't know how this is going to work out, is read and react to some 1-star reviews of some of my favorite history nonfiction books. Will this be fun? I don't know. I like watching these videos when other people do them, so I'm hoping I'll enjoy it. Let's see. Let's find some reviews. I've picked a few books, but I haven't looked at any of the 1-star reviews yet, so I'm going to be reacting basically live. I mean, I'm sure I'll edit it, obviously, but I haven't prepared my thoughts on these. I don't know how many books I'm gonna do, honestly, because sort of depends on how long I'm here filming for. I don't want to film forever because it's very late, and I have 2 more videos to film, and I want to eat dinner. Let's get into it, I guess. I'm gonna be reading from my laptop today because I cannot deal with messing around with the Goodreads app on my phone, but it means I might be looking down a bit. The first book that I want to talk about is The Woman They Could Not Silence, One Woman, Her Incredible Fight for Freedom, and the Men Who Tried to Make Her Disappear by Kate Moore. I read this back at the end of May as part of the Do the Thing-a-thon, which I have a vlog about, so I will link that up here. This book is about a woman in the US in sort of the 1860s and onward whose husband has her put in an insane asylum, and she fights legal battles after legal battle for many years in order to regain her freedom and help other people in similar situations. I absolutely love this book. Oh, I don't think I mentioned already, all of these are going to be history books that I gave 5 stars. As you can see, I absolutely love this. So let's see why people don't like it. There's over 1,000 people who've given this a star rating, and only 4 of them have given it 1 star, and none of them have reviewed it. So let's see about 2 stars. Are there any 2-star reviews? Yes. Okay. I'm going to put up images, but I'm not obviously going to name any people or anything. This one says, fascinating character. Entirely too long. I also felt there were so many quotation marks it became extremely distracting. I started envisioning a Saturday Night Live character telling the story and constantly using air quotes. Okay, fascinating character, yes, absolutely. Elizabeth Packard, the woman that this book is a biography of, is a fascinating woman and absolutely incredible. Too long, debatable. It's a 560-page book, but only maybe 350 pages are actually the text. That's a matter of perspective. I didn't think it was too long because there is so much content in this. I don't find that anything was particularly drawn out. There were just so many events. But again, then too many quotation marks. Like, yes, because they were literal quotations. I wonder if this person didn't read the preface, because there's no dialogue in here that's not a quotation that's taken from something that was written down in a primary source, like a letter or a diary. So yeah, you're gonna have quotation marks because they're quotes? I don't know. Also, fascinating character. Does this person think, surely they don't think it was fiction. That would explain why that seems weird, but who knows? Let's look at another. This one's good. I have to read this one. This could be a very interesting story, but the book is way too long and parts are repetitive and boring. Almost as if this woman being locked up in an asylum was repetitive and boring and torturous for her. I don't much like the heroine due to her inflated view of herself. Her view of herself as a highly intelligent person? And the audio version is narrated by the author who has a British accent, which I found very distracting. Okay, I shouldn't be critical of that because different people find different things distracting, and I guess this is set in the US and about Americans, so maybe that would be distracting, but it's non-fiction. Doesn't all non-fiction just sound better in a British accent? Maybe that's just because I was raised on Sir David Attenborough nature documentaries, like legit that was some of the most common stuff that me and my siblings watched growing up, but like, I don't know. I don't see the problem. The gist of all these negative reviews is basically that it is too long and too repetitive. Yeah, it's not a short book, but it's not an absurdly long book. Maybe I'm being elitist? I don't know. I don't even know how to approach things anymore, but like, it's a person's life. It's not going to have narrative flow. And given that it is a person's life, I thought Kate Moore had made it remarkably engaging and captivating and moving. I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on this one. The next book that I want to look at is The Warmth of Other Suns, The Epic Story of America's Great Migration by Isabel Wilkerson. This is another book that I read earlier this year. I think I read this in February, and I think it appeared in a vlog. I'll link either a vlog or my February wrap-up up here. But The Warmth of Other Suns is about the Great Migration, which is a phenomenon. I don't know what you call it exactly, but basically starting during the First World War and running through I think the 1970s, there was a mass migration of Black Americans from the southern US into the North and the West. Huge numbers of people moved out of southern states and into more industrial states in the North and to California and places like that in search of a better life for themselves and their children. And this book chronicles that Great Migration both from a overall view, history, perspective, and also through biography or tracking 3 specific people who at different times moved from different places to new places in the North and California. Again, I loved this book, so let's see why people don't like it. This one has a lot more reviews, so there should hopefully be some actual 1-star reviews. Okay, there's a lot of different reviews obviously, and because it's a 1-star reviews, a lot of people didn't finish it, so I'm trying not to go with those ones. I really wanted to like this book. It's obvious that the author did extensive research and is passionate about the Great Migration, but there were so many editing issues that I ultimately gave up. There are 3 main biographies that the author covers, but for a non-fiction book, there was plenty of fictionalization of characters, and then there's an example, and a lot of editorializing mixed with conjecture about the historical events. If that wasn't enough, interestingly, no example of that, and I'd be curious to think what they think is editorialized and what is just not presented in the way that we expect given how we are taught history. If that wasn't enough, the timelines were horrendous. One minute we're reading that Ida May being courted, then she is 6, then her father has died, then back to being courted. In between all of that, there are historical facts thrown in so that neither the biographical timeline nor the historical timeline has any continuity. Then she jumps to another person's story and does the same thing, often repeating the historical aspects she just covered. See, that's the point! In my view, again, this is all personal taste, and why did I think I was going to be good at doing this sort of video? One, okay, I think if you expect everything to be perfectly linear, that's kind of boring. But what I really liked was how Wilkerson structured the book, which is, yes, looking at one person in one point of time, and then looking at another person at the same stage in their life or their part of the migration, but maybe at a different point in time, and providing historical context all throughout it. I thought that was really compelling. I thought it was really interesting to see what was it like for someone who was making the migration starting in the 30s and their actual travel process, and how did that compare to someone else making the process in a different way in the 1940s and then in the 1950s. And then we see how they all settle in, because I think it really lets you see both the continuity throughout this time period, but also how things were changing and how things were different for different people. I think if we had just seen one person's story, then the next person's, we wouldn't have had that contrast so much. I don't know. Let me know down below if you guys have read this. Do you guys think this is a valid criticism? Is this just personal taste? Is this someone not getting it? I don't know. I'm gonna try and find another review. Between the book I just talked about and this one, everyone keeps talking about characters. This one person says, Wilkerson may be an outstanding journalist. She didn't create believable characters for me. They came off as stereotypes of early 20th century blacks wanting a better life, which is a pity because there are some powerful stories to tell. Yeah, these were powerful stories about real people. I don't want to be authoritative on this because clearly it is not my domain nor my history. But yes, there were elements of these people who may have been stereotypical, but certain stereotypes form for a reason and they're not all bad. Like, she wasn't writing characters. She was recounting the stories. And maybe you don't feel like these stories were compelling or interesting or told in an interesting way. Do you think these people's lives were not believable? Do you think these people's stories aren't worth telling because they seem like a stereotype to you? I can't tell if I want to get angry or if I just feel like, is this just a matter of perspective? Oh my god, this person genuinely is confused. The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. Didn't care for this book. More like a history book instead of a novel. Bogged me down in my reading. Like, how do you read this book and not realize that it's non-fiction? I don't want to be mean to any individual person, but I don't understand how you can read this and think that it's a terribly written novel, because it's very clearly not. I am confused. On a totally different note, I want to talk about Hark, a Vagrant by Kate Beaton. This is a comic collection, I guess is what we would call it. I actually have it downstairs on my coffee table, but I didn't bring it up. That are all just like humorous comics about history. I don't know, they're hilarious. I don't know if the website is still live or not, but if it is, I'll put a link down below because they are brilliant, and I think if you like my channel, you will love Kate Beaton's comics and you should probably pick this up. Let's see what the haters say. I think I laughed once. I smiled maybe a total of 16 times. This is so specific. For the rest of my reading experience, I felt a growing disdain for the author, who has no concept of humor that does not involve foul language or sexual references. Even though I was familiar with most of the historical and literary references employed in these comics, Beaton only did about 5 clever things with them. Otherwise, the punchlines fell flat, and most of them were pure garbage. Honestly, I got this book expecting some crass humor, but I was surprised to discover that there was almost nothing else. If you cannot think of anything funnier than historical figures and literary characters illustrated as compulsively spewing vulgarity and sexual references, then knock yourself out. This book is for you. Also, while you're knocked out, I won't miss you. However, if you're the kind of person who expects things to be funnier than the average 4th grader's dirty joke, take a pass. Now, okay, to be fair, it has been a number of years since I actually read this book, and maybe I just have potty humor and that's why I like it. That feels a bit harsh, and maybe like you're a bit of a buzzkill. I don't know. I thought it was uproariously funny. Maybe I'll go read it this evening, and Editing Rosie can let you know whether this person has any validity or if they are just a party pooper who doesn't get humor. Kate Beaton's thing is to pepper her historical cartoons with incongruous modern slang. She seems to think the reader is interested in Canadian history, not, and her earlier cartoons are not funny. She is no Roz Chast, that's for sure. Wow, how self-centered do you have to be to think that no one is interested in Canadian history? I know I'm biased, but a lot of Canadian history is fascinating, and maybe you should actually pay attention to some of this, and you would realize that. Also, historical figures with modern slang is hilarious. It's just all taste, right? Like, different people have different taste. It's fine if this isn't for you, but like, that doesn't make it bad. This is why so often lately I've been saying, this wasn't the book for me, because it's not that it's a bad book, it's just that it's not what I'm looking for. I don't go and leave a 1-star review saying, this person is terrible. Maybe I'm being too nice. So many of these reviews just basically seem to be, this isn't my type of humor, which, fair, but it all seems to be so, and therefore this is a bad book, which I don't think it is. I think it's just that it's not what you find funny. Do I want to do one more book? No, you know what? I've been feeling burnt out. I don't need to pressure myself to do more. I had a whole bunch of other books that I was going to talk about, but I'm not going to because, like I said, more to film. I don't know. Let me know down below. Do you guys ever look at 1-star reviews of your favorite books? What do you tend to think? If I do this again, should I be more prepared and like actually find ones I can discuss? Because I think so many of these were just me going, either you got something very different or you didn't get it, because I don't get how you got what you got out of this book. I don't know. Has this been even remotely interesting? If you did like this video though, please give it a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.